I think you'll find today's episode of English TV Live especially helpful, as today you're going to find out or discover the difference between find out, and discover.
That's right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to English TV Live. My name is Lloyd. His name is Jacob. And this is the #1 resource, we believe, for online live English lessons, for live English lessons. So it's great to have you here. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button below. We will be with you every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at this time. Well, if you're watching this on the replay, hello to you as well. But if you're watching this live, we will be live at 3:30 p.m., not a.m., that would be crazy, GMT, so you can work out, you can do the maths. But yeah, here we are again. Mr. Jacob.
What's going on, Lloyd? How are you doing today?
I'm okay. Technology and me don't really seem to be having a very good relationship at the moment. And I think I need to find out the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. It's always difficult to find out the reason why technology is not working. For me too, I'm not too tech savvy, which means I'm not too great when it comes to technology. It takes me a long time to figure things out. But let's start today. We're going to talk about the difference between find out, and discover. Now, these are understandably some difficult words for people to tell the difference between. This topic was actually one that was requested by one of our members of English TV Live in our private group. She wanted to know the difference between a bunch of similar words in English. And we started today by talking about find out, and discover. So let's start with a few examples. Let's start with the difference between find and find out. So for example, Lloyd, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. Have you seen that?
No, I'm pretty poor. I've never seen, what is that? A coin?
It's a coin. This is what we call in Canada a loonie.
Oh, have I seen? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not that poor that I haven't seen a coin before, but
I meant to.
Actually, it's funnily enough, here in the Philippines, I'm in the Philippines at the moment, so many coins. So every time you go and buy something, you just get all these coins and change, and then I end up walking around with a pocket full of about 100 coins, and then it can get confusing. Yeah. So Why are you showing me this coin?
Well, I'm showing you this coin over here. This is in Canada what we call a loonie. It's a $1 coin. So this coin is the equivalent of $1. And I'm showing you this coin because I found this coin under my carpet today. I found this coin under my carpet.
And what is it called again? A loonie?
It's called a loonie.
Loonie.
On one end here, you can see right there. That's called the common loon, the bird. Common loon.
Okay, it's named after the bird. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just found out that in Canada, the name of that coin is a loonie. So that's worth $1. You said about $1?
$1 Canadian, yes. That's our $1 coin. We don't actually have a $1 bill like they do in America. We have loonies, which are worth $1. So I found a loonie.
You know, loonie in some places can mean crazy.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. Over here, it means coin.
Oh, well, maybe people will think you're crazy and loony if you're walking around with too many loonies. But yeah, I just found out. So I just found out that information, right?
So let's talk about that. Now, the difference is, I said I found a $1 coin, a loonie. I'm talking about actually finding an object, okay? This was under my carpet, and I found it. I saw it under my carpet. Lloyd, what would you say the difference is between find and found out? You just found out about the loonie. What would you say the difference is?
Yeah, so with find out, as Jacob said, with find, it's for a physical thing. A place, a person, a thing, an object. You find it. You physically find it. You see it with your own eyes. But find out is about some information, right? So you don't find out a physical thing, you find out the concept, you find out the idea. So in this case, I just found out that a loonie, it's a very strange name. I think you need to change it, Jacob. You have the power, right? You're pretty powerful in Canada.
Well, I'm living in Ottawa now, so the Prime Minister of Canada lives here. Maybe I can find where he lives and ask him
I think
what he
you need
thinks.
to go and have a chat with the Prime Minister. But I just found out the information that they have a very strange name for the coin in Canada. Very strange.
Can you give us another example of something that you found versus something that you found out recently?
Well, do you want a real one, or should I make an example sentence? Well, okay. For example, no, this one is true. This is true. So, maybe other people out there can relate, but I always lose socks. Okay, I always lose socks. So I always have, let's say for example, I have a red sock and a blue sock and a black sock. I can always find only one of them. So I'll take the black sock, and where's his brother? I can't find the other one, right? I can't find the other one. So Jacob has just found out that I lose my socks a lot. But that's an example, right? I'm looking for something, and you're trying to find it. You're trying to find it. Like, where is it? And let's say this has happened actually quite a few times. Sometimes I give up trying to find this sock, and then I find the other one, right? I find the other one, and then I'm like, oh damn! Now I've already thrown out the original one, so I found it too late.
Very nice example there, and I'm gonna show you guys an example from my own life too, and then we've got a question for you, and we're gonna analyze a question too, or a response to our question rather. But this is a picture of my cat, or my brother's cat rather. And I took this picture the other day. Yesterday, I found my cat sitting in the sink. I was quite shocked. I walked into the bathroom and there was this cat sitting in the sink. So I could say yesterday.
I saw this guy the other day.
Yeah, exactly. So he's really he's living at my place. You saw him on camera. He's
I did.
Yeah, he's hanging out.
What's his name?
His name's Frederick.
Frederick. Frederick sounds like such a human's name. I don't know.
Frederick,
come over here.
We named him after Frederick Chopin. We're both big Frederick Chopin fans.
Who is Frederick Chopin? I'm sorry.
He is the famous. Oh man, you got to listen to some Frederick Chopin. He's the famous composer, Frederick Chopin.
Okay. I just found out about him now when you told me so.
Yeah, you just found out about Frederick Chopin perfectly. Yeah. So yesterday I found my cat sitting in the sink, and yesterday I found out that my cat enjoys sitting in the sink. We're going to ask you guys a question here. If you can, complete the sentence. When I found out that blah, 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 I blah, 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 blah. So when Lloyd found out, for example, about the loonie, what would you say, Lloyd? How did you feel?
When I found out that the Canadian coin is called a loonie, I was a little bit mildly surprised because it sounds like quite a strange name for a coin. So, yeah, when I found out that the Canadian coin is called the loonie, I was a little surprised.
It is a strange name now that I think about it. You know, when you live in one place, in the place where you grew up, you don't really think too much about some things that other people who aren't from your country might find strange. And
well, I guess in the UK, there's also quite a strange name for £1. Do you know what that is in the UK?
I know what a pound is, but I don't know where the name really comes from. I would assume the weight.
Well, I mean, it's called a pound, but usually people call it the slang word, which is a quid. A quid.
Right. I did know that, actually. Why is that? Why is a quid?
I have no idea. But usually you'd say that. Oh, it's five quid. It's 10 quid. It's 1 quid. It's a quid. It's only a quid. Have you got a quid? Can I borrow a quid? I'm trying to find a few quid.
Let's look at the one answer that one of our students gave us. So this is from, where did my presentation go? This is from Tammy.
Tammy, thank you.
Tammy answered, when I found out that my passport expired, I postponed my trip until I renew it. This was from Tammy, who posted in our private Facebook group. By the way, if you'd like to join the wait list for English TV Live, we are just getting started. As you know, this is episode number 2, but we have a wait list up and ready. Follow the link in the description of this video. Put your name and email into the form. Join the wait list. I'll be sending out emails regularly with some great stuff, some bonus material that you'll only receive if you're on the wait list. Now, Lloyd, what do you think about this sentence from Tammy?
Well, I mean, it's a bad situation, and definitely not a situation that I would like to find myself in. So let's just take a look at the sentence. When I found out that my passport expired, I postponed my trip until I renewed. Okay, so we probably need to clean it up a little bit, but yeah, it's not a very nice situation, huh? Have you ever experienced this, Jacob?
Well, not so much my passport, but actually right now my driver's license is expired. It's been expired since I turned 28 on March 12th. So I've been having a hard time with that over here. They seem to be more strict about it in Ottawa. I was buying a bottle of wine the other day, and the man who sold me the bottle of wine warned me that my license had expired and that I needed to get it renewed. Now,
well, I mean, you do have if you don't mind me saying, you do have a bit of a baby face.
I do have a baby face, yes.
So, I mean, I can understand how people could. Do you get asked for your license quite a lot?
All the time.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
And shockingly, it doesn't happen to me so much anymore. But don't laugh. But I just, as we're talking about this now, looking at Tammy's sentence, it did just come to me, which means I just remembered a case when this actually happened to me as well. So this is about 6 years ago, I think. My passport expired, and I really wanted to leave the to leave the country, not for any illegal reasons, but I wanted to travel and stuff, and I just couldn't because I didn't have my new passport, and my passport took a long time to get the new one, and it was very frustrating. So I sympathize and even empathize with Tammy.
Yes, it sounds like a very difficult situation. Tammy and everyone watching, here's how I would probably rephrase this sentence to make it a little more simple and a little more natural sounding. I wrote, when I found out that my passport had expired, I postponed my trip. So I really didn't do much. I got rid of the last part of the sentence just because it was easier. If you postpone a trip, first of all, it's implied by the sentence that the reason you're postponing your trip is because your passport expired. Your passport had expired. But Lloyd, what do you think about this? Anything else to add here?
So yeah, you just want to emphasize with the past perfect, right? That something had happened followed by another event. So could you just bring up just the original, the top one is the original one, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So this had happened. The passport had expired. It didn't expire at that moment, right? So it had already expired, maybe without your knowledge. And then after finding out about that information, then you postponed your trip. So an event which was completed in the past before another event, past perfect, followed by the past simple, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think it does. Now, let's talk. We're going to look at our live audience. We're going to look at what you guys are saying at the end here, but let's move on to the difference between find out and discover. Now, this one's perhaps a little more difficult because we really can use these phrases interchangeably, I would say, a lot of the time. But let's go back to this example of Frederick over here in the sink. Yesterday, I found out that my cat... Oh, I made a mistake.
Jacob, you made a mistake. Can I correct your mistake?
Please do. Please do.
Okay. Can anybody watching at home, can you fix... Here we go. See, now the shoe's on the other foot, you see?
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
means now you're in that position. So Jacob made a mistake here. So yesterday, I found out that my cat sitting in the sink. Can anybody work out what Jacob's... I'm just kidding, Jacob. What Jacob's mistake is here? Can anybody work out? Can anybody find the mistake?
Nice.
Here?
Nice one.
All
If
right.
you guys can
Well,
find...
Jacob, would you like to self-correct?
Sure. Yesterday, I found out that my cat enjoys sitting in the sink, is what I had before. So I made a mistake, but let's pretend that the word enjoys is sitting right in between cat and sitting in this sentence. Now, Lloyd, what would happen if I were to say, yesterday I found out, or yesterday I discovered that my cat enjoys sitting in the sink? What if I were to say, yesterday I discovered that my cat enjoys sitting in the sink?
So in this case, they, in my opinion, my humble opinion, they have the same meaning. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would completely agree. They sound the exact same to me. Yesterday I discovered, yesterday I found out. I would almost say, and you can tell me what you think about this, but discovered to me sounds a bit more serious. Sounds like the consequences of the discovery might be more significant than find out. What do you think about that?
I would tend to agree with that as well. Maybe you would say something like, but again, it's not necessarily every time. I think both of them would sound perfectly natural, but perhaps it might, as Jacob said, it might be more common to use discover for something a little bit more serious. Like, let's say, for example, the doctors discovered the patient had this disease, okay? But they could also say that they found out that he has the disease. It's not that would also work. But I would say either one is okay for this, though.
And I would say that the one big difference, if you're looking for one thing that you can use to know when to use find out versus when to use discover, as we said, they are interchangeable a lot of the time. In this situation, in this example, they mean basically the exact same thing. We tend to use
when you have new information.
Exactly. When you have new information. So here's an example. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin in 1928. Lloyd, would we say Alexander Fleming found out penicillin in 1928?
Okay, so this is where the difference comes in. So if something I'm trying not to use the word discovered. if this information is known for the first time, the very, 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 very first time, you would say discovered. So in this case, we're talking about, would you agree with that, Jacob?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you could say Alexander Fleming found out penicillin. That would sound, that would be incorrect. Yeah.
Very unnatural, incorrect. But in this case, as you know, Alexander Fleming discovered, he was the first guy, right? He was the first guy or girl to find this medicine, okay, penicillin. So we would say he discovered it. He was the first one before anybody else. He discovered penicillin.
One more. Here's a nice one. Isaac Newton discovered gravity after an apple fell on his head in 1664.
Exactly. So the same situation again. Before Isaac Newton had that apple, fell onto his head?
Yeah.
While he was sitting under a tree. Until that point, we didn't really know, until that moment, we didn't really know what it was that was keeping us on the ground. And now we know because of his discovery, that is the noun form, okay, discovery. So because of Isaac Newton's discovery, we now know that the reason that I'm sitting on this chair and not flying in the sky, which would be interesting for a live stream, is because of he discovered it. He was the first person to discover gravity.
Yes, I think if an apple fell on my head in 1664, I probably just would have moved. I don't think I would have discovered gravity.
Exactly. Yeah, or eaten it.
Let's go to our live audience watching right now on YouTube before we sign off here.
Okay, we've got quite a few people in here. Let me just take a look, if you don't mind, Jacob. Roxana, hello. Junior Farias, hello. Supapina, what's going on? And everybody else, Tony, Tammy, thank you for your sentence. And to everybody else who's watching on the live stream or the replay, it's great to have you here.
Junior says, when I found out that my father had moved to another city, I freaked out. Is it correct? I would say when I found out that my father had moved to another city, I freaked out. I'd say that's perfect. What would you say, Lloyd?
I'd say that not a perfect situation, but
right.
It's a perfect sentence, definitely.
Good
and
distinction.
Again, yeah. In that case, it's a great, perfect sentence. That is an example of something where you could use find out or discovered interchangeably. In that case, it's new information for you, okay? But you're not the first person to ever discover it, but you found it out. You found it out or discovered, so you can use either one. It's not like with Einstein, right? What did he did a lot of things. But with Newton, with gravity, he discovered gravity. He was the first one. But you have some new information, some new news. You found it out. You discovered it. Both are okay.
All right, you guys. So that is it for us today. If you enjoyed this lesson, this second episode of English TV Live, you can show your appreciation by giving us a nice big thumbs up on YouTube. Try to answer the question that we posed in the middle of this episode. Try to finish the sentence. When I found out that, blah, 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 I, blah, 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 blah. We'll be back in the comment section responding to all of you guys. We are your #1 resource for live English lessons, and we will be back here tomorrow at the same time, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Is that correct? GMT?
That is correct. And as Jacob said before, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that hit that subscribe button, but also join the mailing list at EnglishTVLive.com. And we will email you with more information about all the benefits you will get from joining us shortly after that.
Right now, we're going to head to our private group for English TV Live members. We'll be there in about 5 minutes if you're watching. And we're going to talk more about the difference between find out, and discover. We're going to do some more practice sentences. We're going to correct your sentences. We're going to help you reach that higher level of English that all of you want to reach. So, Lloyd, it's been a pleasure. Should we jump over to our group?
Yeah, I'll see you again in Facebook, okay?
Okay, take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.